everybody, welcome to Biockickz 3 Raw TV. Raw TV. We haven't done that intro in a while. This video is about the Bostin Loyd experiment coming to a close. And many of you watching this will already know that Bostin and I kind of had a little beef or squabble or whatever you want to call it on social media. And, you know, we talked privately, and, you know, Bostin just assumed that I was going to make a video about it. I told him, look, I'm not going to make a video about this. It is what it is. We hashed it out. I gained a shitload of followers from it, so it you know, didn't fucking hurt my feelings any. And we squashed it, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about him ending his experiment and what people think that I think of, you know, because I've been very outspoken about some of the things that he talks about, and the fact that I actually have done a lot of the shit that he did. I never went on the growth hormone experiment like he did for the last year, but you know, let's back up a little bit. So Bostin is at a point in his life now, in my personal opinion, where the bodybuilding thing is really just not doing it for him anymore. You know, you get to a certain point, you've accomplished certain things, and you know you're not going to accomplish more. So even if he got to 290, 300 pounds, what the fuck is the point? You know what I mean? He's going to show people on social media he did it. He already showed that he could transform from what he did as a 19-year-old to now, and he's shown in competitions and shit what he can do. He's already proven like the knowledge that he has, although, you know, some people would say it's very radical. I would say it's kind of extreme, but that's what bodybuilding is. It's fucking extreme. So really, what is there left for him to do? Honestly, what you know, he can keep doing gear to look the way he wants to look, but really there's no more for him to, you know. The last video I just watched, I didn't watch the whole thing because it was kind of long, but he did a year's worth of growth hormone, basically got no gains from it. His diet's always good, and, you know, I'm sitting there going, like, so this is pretty much it. I mean, there's really not much more for him to do. There's no new compounds out there. He's been shooting himself silly with peptides. That didn't really do much. Like, it's time. It's time to wrap it up, and especially if you want to have a family, you know, being the fact that he's been on stuff for a long time, and I've heard people, oh, you just have to go off or take HCG and did it, and I'm like, dude, you guys don't understand. Just because that worked for you doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. I've known people that have done steroids that couldn't get their fucking wives pregnant anymore. The HCG therapy, the wives took Clomid, like all this stuff from the doctor and shit, and it didn't work. It just depends on the person, you know. If he wants to have kids, he could have to come, you know, everybody's giving him recommendations about staying on and getting it. You guys are not getting it. Just because you heard somebody knock someone up, fucking, it doesn't mean that it's going to work for him. And in that aspect, I feel bad, because if that's what he really wants to do, now the decisions he made when he was 17, 18 years old, taking the pro hormones and shit that he was taking back then, which actually do cause issues within your body and can be long-term. I've had kids contact me that have fucked themselves up, and I couldn't give them any advice because they were underage, but they're fucked up. They've got gyno, their fucking testosterone never came back. One 17-year-old, it had been a year and his test hadn't come back. And the doctor's like, well, we're going to start you on HCG. He was fucking like 18 years old. And he was fucking really upset because he, you know, it was sexual dysfunction. He was fucked up. And he had gyno, like the girls looked at him weird. He was 18. So Bostin started when he was 18 with the pro hormones, which do the shit that back then really fucking, you know, it did make your body fucking shut down at least to a certain point, and then jumped on steroids and stayed on high dosages. So how much damage is done to his body is not really going to be known until he gets off of the shit, and then, you know, see what happens, you know. But, you know, my other personal opinion, and this is my personal opinion, and I hope Bostin watches this, is that, you know, and again, Bostin's getting to a point in his life where, you know, being a big bodybuilder is not necessarily the main thing in his life. He's got a family now. If you'd told him 15 years ago that you'd want to have kids with this girl and fucking you have your dogs and you'd want a life like that, he might be like, no, I'm all about bodybuilding. It's not what it is. It's changed, and he's changing, and that doesn't happen all at once. Like, you don't wake up one morning and all of a sudden you're different. You know, it happens slowly. It happens a little bit at a time, and, you know, more and more of these things that you held that were important to you before become not as important, and then eventually not important. And the things that you're finding are more important, like your wife, your girlfriend, your kids, your dogs, you know, your mom, your dad, whatever, become the focus of your life, and you kind of leave the bodybuilding thing behind and you focus on those things. Now, having kids is a whole different ballgame than living with a girlfriend and keeping steroids in the house. The steroids are absolutely fucking illegal. They're illegal. No matter what you say, and the amounts that a lot of bodybuilders keep for personal use will be considered distributing. Hands down, I get tired of hearing people say, just because you haven't got caught yet does not mean if something fucking goes down that you're not going to be fucked. When you have kids in the house, plenty of my friends that were, I was not going to have kids, so I was like, fuck it, huge, swole, steroids, this is the best thing ever. Why would I want to have that fucked up lifestyle like you want? They wanted to have kids. They eventually finished up their cycles, started to have kids, and there were no more steroids in the house. They said, fuck it, I'm done. You know what I mean? I'm not going to have them in the house because I don't want the kids to fucking get into it or learn that fucking taking the shit's okay. Or even worse, have for some fucking reason someone you pissed off rats you out and gives enough false information for them to fucking make a case, come to your fucking house, find what they have, and have your kids watch, and don't think the kids aren't going to see the cops come in the house. And it's not going to fucking traumatize them one bit. I mean, it could be a fucking mess, and I've actually seen it before, and I get frustrated because I say the things that I've seen, and I try to help people, and they just fucking, I don't know what you're talking about, Jerry. And then when they find themselves in that situation, they're fucked, and they're like, oh, well, I should have done this, I should have done that. Well, there are some of the older guys out there that are talking about it, that are telling you guys ahead of time, if you want to do this, don't do this. If you want to have kids, you want to have a family, don't do the steroids. Like we have a person that I knew that was taking Winstrol, didn't tell his wife about it, and he hid the bottle of Winstrol in his shoe. And he had a little kid, like 2-3 years old, went in there, grabbed the fucking bottle of Winstrol out of the shoe. Somehow he found it. Like, that's another thing. You put something where kids aren't going to find it. They come walking out of your bedroom with a fucking needle in their hand. Like, it's just, kids do shit like that, right? And, handed the bottle to the wife. I was like, what the fuck is this? And he's like, what the? And he's like, fuck, it's my bottle of Winstrol. When the wife Googled it, she found out that it was orally active too. And if the kid had been fucking licking on it, she saw the Winstrol on the top of the cap. Well, they went to the hospital right away to the ER to have the kid checked to make sure there was nothing wrong because the wife overreacted, which wives overreact sometimes when they do shit like that. That's just what happens. People overreact. And not only the lecture that he got, but it's in his record now that he had, stenozolol at his fucking house and his kid may or may not have ingested it. Now, I don't know what you think, but those actually do go in files. Like, doctors actually do keep files on that shit. And it's not like all confidentiality. That doctor can fucking tell a fucking police officer or anyone else if that kid may possibly endanger. And those doctors think that stenozolol is going to kill the kid. They don't know any fucking different. They think it's awful. He's going to die because he touched a bottle of Winstrol. But that's all it takes for them to start looking into you and fucking have regular visits to your house and fucking wellness checks. Like, you don't understand. Like, you're wanting to have kids and raise a family that has, solidarity to it and are not worrying about someone coming and fucking with you because they don't understand the steroid thing. Not that I'm saying that steroids are dangerous, but it is what it is. And, as Bostin has spoken before, he said that in this video, the blood work was way off when he was taking shit. And Tony Hughes said, this is not good. And, Bostin, like other bodybuilders, what they do is instead of taking it to a doctor and a specialist, actually go to a specialist and say, what do you think about this? And having the actual specialist, they take it to another bodybuilder. Take it to another person. Dave Palumbo said it's not that bad for what I'm taking. For what you're taking. Okay, but that doesn't mean it's good for your body. It doesn't mean it's actually not doing damage. And here's the thing. You don't know the damage it's doing. A lot of people think, I feel good. And Boston, I feel good. Feeling good is fine, but as far as getting sick, that's where I really start, looking at things as far as immune system function happens and blood work. That blood work does not lie. It doesn't matter how you feel. You can feel fucking great and drop dead of a heart attack the next day of a full fucking blockage and not even know it was there. Like, you're not getting it. Like, you don't feel the effects of something happening to you until you start to have some kind of system failure or shutdown. Kidneys don't fucking hurt you until they're shutting down. Your fucking liver doesn't hurt you until it swells up. And Bostin has a very distended abdomen. That distended abdomen comes in there. Oh, it's a lot of food and stuff. Your digestion is fucked up. What do you think happens when you're burping up that fucking food and that acid? That acid in your throat can cause fucking esophagus cancer. I mean, it's esophageal cancer. It's not a fucking secret, but it doesn't hit you till 35, 45, 50, whatever it is, when you're in the midst of that life with that fucking wife and those kids and you're enjoying your life and you realize there's more to life than being a big fucking knucklehead walking around like this, can put my arms down, I'm impressing all the guys on the internet. Once you realize that, sometimes it's too late. And, it's not that I dislike Bostin. It's not that I think he's a bad guy, but I don't want to see him or anyone else watching this go through that shit. Why the fuck would you want to go through that shit? You went on the steroids, you got out with fucking no issues. I have friends, and Bostin may know some of them, who have had kidney transplants, who have kidney problems. There are pro bodybuilders over the age of 40 that have just fucking dropped dead by keeping their body weight up. It's about body mass index, not whether it's muscle or fat. It's actually harder for your body to carry muscle at 280 than it is at fat because it's actually biologically active, metabolically active tissue. There's more blood pumping through muscle than there is fat. So for you to keep that active tissue, it's harder on your body and your heart. And, open heart surgery is not a fucking joke. My wife does it for a living. She's a surgical nurse in the CVOR. That's what she does, bypasses, open heart surgery. And, it didn't start clicking in my head until I got together with her and started listening to the things that were going on at work. And we discussed it in the uncontrolled high blood pressure, which 95% of you guys out there have high blood pressure from taking steroids and having a high body mass. And you don't control it. The high body mass index and the stress on the heart. These aortic valves that blow out. That happened. If my friend Anthony Terezzo, fucking happened to him. He died. He had an aneurysm. He fucking died. He was 260 something fucking pounds. He couldn't get it through his head that he needed to drop weight. And Dave Palumbo tried to get him to do it. We talk about it in my Dave Palumbo video that I did the interview with him. You know, like, as you get older, you have to fucking take your health into consideration. And, you know, yeah, when you're 20, 25, even 30, you can push your body and get away with shit. And it doesn't mean you're not doing damage. But the harder you push, the more damage you're doing. And it's not going to show up till later. And if you're the type of guy who, you know, like Anthony was, who didn't have kids, he had just met a girl that he was talking about getting married to, but bodybuilding was his life. He didn't really care about the family stuff and all that stuff. And that was what he liked to do, then fine. But if you got a wife there or a girl there and you're trying to have kids and you want to have a family and you want to live to be old, you want to see your kids grow up and have fucking kids and have grandkids, you better start thinking some of your fucking decisions. And I think it's smart for Bostin to back the fuck off. And I'm hoping that, you know, the more he comes off of this stuff and he starts to feel better, like you can tell by watching him in the video, he doesn't feel good. He's constantly burping shit up. He can't fucking, his digestion is fucked. He breathes heavy just sitting down trying to have a conversation. What the fuck is that? You breathe heavy having a conversation sitting down? Do you see me breathing heavy? No, it's normal. Like, you drop the weight, you feel better. And then, you know, if you start to put the weight back on, that's when you really notice, fuck, I don't feel good. I didn't feel good before, but it became natural and normal life. Once you feel good and you go back to feeling like that again, you realize, fuck, carrying this weight is not a good idea. I don't want to do this. You know, so it is what it is. I don't think that Bostin's going to stop training. I don't think he's going to stop taking steroids. I don't think he's going to stop... you know, doing crazy shit if he feels like it. But I do think that we see a change starting to happen in him that has happened in me and happens in a lot of other people. Don't get me wrong. Some people never fucking grow up. They do the kamikaze shit until they fucking die. They don't care. But a lot of people grow up. A lot of people see the writing on the wall and they want more out of life than to have a bunch of fucking muscle. Like, muscle's only going to take you so far. When you're laying in that fucking bed and you don't have a wife or kids or fucking anyone around you to hold your hand when you're fucking dying and you lost the muscle anyways because you've been wasting away, what are you going to do then? You know, but people don't think about that. So I think that, you know, it's good if he wants to do something besides fucking bodybuilding. That's what life is all about. Life shouldn't be one-sided anyways. And I think people should actually, you know, he's got a lot of fans that look up to him and look to him as a role model. I think they should pay the fuck attention and see that he's doing other things. Like he said, you know, if you're going to try to blast and put all this growth hormone on and use all this growth hormone and put all this weight on, don't do it. I did it and it didn't work. You know what I mean? Like, he's been the guinea pig for you. Well, he's being a guinea pig again now for his own life to be happier. And I think that in the long run, he's going to be a lot happier. So that's just my 2 cents. BioStrengthTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biostrength.com is a blog. It's the fucking, it all comes to an end, bicep, and we're